The night shift at the International Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Most of the time, Tom Adams would sit in his comfortable chair, sip his coffee, and watch the endless streams of data flow across his screens. Located deep in the Nevada desert, the station was Earth's earliest warning system for any threats from space. But on this particular night in 2145, everything changed. The first sign was a small blip on Monitor 3. Tom almost missed it while reaching for his coffee mug. He paused, his hand frozen in midair, as his tired eyes focused on the unusual signal pattern. After 15 years of watching deep space signals, he knew this was different. "Hey, Bill," he called out to his colleague who was dozing at the next console. "Come take a look at this." Bill Walker, a gray-haired veteran of space monitoring, shuffled over. His eyes widened as he looked at the screen. "That's not natural," he said, suddenly wide awake. "And it's not one of ours either." The signal was coming from the Kuiper Belt, far beyond Neptune's orbit. It pulsed in a regular pattern that couldn't be anything but artificial. Tom's fingers flew across his keyboard, running the standard analysis programs. The computers hummed as they processed the data. "Should we call the boss?" Bill asked, his voice uncertain. Tom nodded slowly. "Yeah, I think we better wake up Director Wilson. This is way above our pay grade." Within an hour, the quiet monitoring station transformed into a hub of frantic activity. Director Wilson arrived with a team of specialists, their faces showing equal parts excitement and concern. The coffee machine worked overtime as nobody wanted to miss what might be happening. "It's definitely a signal," announced Dr. Linda Peters, their top signal analyst. She pointed to a complex graph on the main screen. "And it's not just random noise. There's a clear message being repeated." The team worked through the night, their excitement growing as they decoded more of the signal. It was mathematical in nature, prime numbers, simple equations, and then more complex patterns. This was exactly how humanity had always imagined first contact would happen. By morning, they had confirmed 3 things. First, the signal was absolutely artificial. Second, it was powerful enough to suggest a large source. And third, it was a distress call. "Look at these patterns," Tom explained to Director Wilson, pointing at his screen. "They're showing us images of damaged ships. Lots of them. Whatever's out there, they're in trouble." Director Wilson didn't waste any time. She immediately contacted the United Earth Council, the planet's governing body for space-related matters. Within hours, the quiet monitoring station hosted video conferences with scientists and leaders from around the world. The translation team worked nonstop. As they decoded more of the message, a clear picture emerged. There wasn't just one ship out there. There was an entire fleet. 300 massive ships carrying what appeared to be refugees. They had suffered some kind of catastrophic failure after passing through an unexpected radiation field. 2 million, Dr. Peters announced during one of the emergency meetings. That's how many people, or beings, are on those ships. 2 million souls stranded at the edge of our solar system. The news spread quickly through the global scientific community. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, but nobody had expected it to happen like this. Instead of powerful explorers or wise teachers, these aliens were refugees in desperate need of help. Tom stayed at his post long after his shift ended, watching the signal repeat its message over and over. Each pulse seemed like a heartbeat, a reminder that somewhere out there, 2 million beings were waiting for Earth's response. Director Wilson placed a hand on his shoulder. "Good catch, Tom," she said softly. "You might have just changed human history." He nodded, his eyes still fixed on the screen. "I just hope we can help them," he replied. "Whatever they are, wherever they're from, they came to the right solar system. Helping people in trouble, that's what humans do best." Little did Tom know just how true those words would prove to be, or how humanity's primitive technology would soon solve problems that even advanced alien civilizations found impossible. The United Earth Council chamber was packed. Representatives from every nation sat in the circular room, their faces illuminated by the soft blue light of their screens. On the main display, the alien distress signal continued its steady pulse. "We can't ignore this," said Council President James Reed, his voice firm. 2 million lives are at stake." Not everyone agreed. Some council members worried about the risks of contacting an unknown alien species. Others argued that Earth's technology might not be advanced enough to help. "What if it's a trap?" asked the Russian representative, voicing what many thought. Ancient sailors used to light false beacons to lure ships into dangerous waters. The debate continued for hours until a new signal arrived. This one was different, a direct communication attempt. The translation computers worked quickly, converting the alien mathematics into human language. The chamber fell silent as the alien message appeared on the main screen. It came from their fleet commander, who called himself Rital. "People of Earth," the message began, "we come seeking help. Our fleet carries the last survivors of our world, Luminara. Our star began to die, forcing us to leave our home. We thought we had prepared well for this journey, but an unexpected radiation wave has damaged our engines beyond repair." The message continued, explaining their situation. Their antimatter drives, far more advanced than anything humans had built, were failing. Without help, the entire fleet would drift forever in the cold darkness of space. What surprised everyone was the next part of the message. The aliens admitted that despite their advanced technology, they lacked the skills needed for these emergency repairs. Their civilization had grown so dependent on automated systems and perfect conditions that they had lost the ability to improvise. Tom Adams, invited to the council as a witness to the first signal, listened with growing interest. "They're like race car drivers with a broken-down engine," he explained to those around him. "They know how to operate amazing machines, but they don't know how to fix them when things go wrong." The council called in Earth's top engineers to review the alien ship's technical data. Maria Rodriguez, known for fixing impossible problems on space stations, studied the diagrams with growing excitement. "Their technology is incredible," she said, pointing to the engine schematics. "But their thinking is too perfect. They can't solve this because they only see the right way to do things. We humans, we're good at finding the wrong way that works anyway." President Reed stood up, calling for attention. "Let's vote," he said. "Do we help these people?" The vote wasn't even close. Despite the risks, despite the enormous challenge, humanity decided to help. It was what humans had always done best, facing the impossible with nothing but determination and creativity. They sent their response to Commander Rital. "We will help. Tell us what you need." The alien commander's reply came quickly. At first, the translators thought there must be a mistake. The aliens were simultaneously grateful for the offer and doubtful that humans could help. Their scans of Earth had shown them how primitive human technology was compared to their own. "They think we're too backward to help them," Rodriguez laughed, reading the message. "Wait until they see how we solve problems on Earth. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." The council quickly organized a rescue mission. They would send their best engineers, led by Tom Adams and Maria Rodriguez, to the stranded fleet. The team would include experts from different fields, all chosen for their ability to think creatively and solve problems with limited resources. As the meeting ended, Tom looked at the alien fleet's specifications one more time. "You know what's funny?" he said to Rodriguez. "They're stuck out there because everything has to be perfect for their systems to work. But nothing's ever perfect in space. That's why they need us, the imperfect humans who are experts at dealing with imperfect situations." The rescue mission would launch in 3 days. Humanity's first official contact with alien life wouldn't be a grand diplomatic exchange or a technological revelation. Instead, it would be something much more human, rolling up their sleeves and fixing someone else's broken-down ship. The rescue ship Spirit of Earth moved slowly through space, approaching the massive alien fleet. Tom Adams stood at the observation window, his mouth slightly open as he took in the view. 300 ships stretched out before them, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their silver hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight. "They're beautiful," Maria Rodriguez whispered, standing next to him. "But I bet they never thought they'd need a mechanic." The human rescue team consisted of 20 of Earth's best engineers and problem solvers. They had spent the 3-day journey studying the alien ship designs and preparing for every possible scenario. But nothing could have prepared them for the actual sight of the fleet. The alien ships were perfect circles, like giant silver coins floating in space. No visible seams, no external pipes or wires, no ugly but practical additions that mark human vessels. They were pure theory made real. "Beginning docking procedure with the command ship," announced the pilot. Everyone grabbed the nearest handhold as their ship carefully approached the largest vessel in the fleet. The docking itself showed the difference between human and alien technology. The aliens had to create a special docking port just for the human ship because their own docking systems were too advanced to work with Earth technology. Commander Rital met them at the airlock. He was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. His large eyes studied the humans with a mixture of hope and doubt. "Welcome," he said through a translation device. "Though I must admit we are uncertain about your ability to help. Our systems are far beyond your current technology level." Tom stepped forward. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones," he said. "Can you show us the damaged engines?" The aliens led them through corridors that seemed to glow from within. Everything was smooth, perfect, and completely automated. There wasn't a single tool in sight, no maintenance panels, no spare part storage. "Where do you keep your repair equipment?" Maria asked. The aliens looked confused. "Repair equipment? Our systems are self-maintaining." Or they were, until the radiation damage. The human team exchanged glances. Now they understood the problem. The aliens had built their technology to be so perfect that they never expected to need repairs. They had no experience with fixing things because nothing was supposed to break. In the engine room, Tom and Maria examined the antimatter drive. It was an amazing piece of technology, but the radiation had damaged its control systems. The aliens could only think of one solution: building entirely new engines, but with no raw materials available. That was impossible. "Look at this," Maria said, pointing to a damaged section. "The basic principles are still the same as our fusion drives. Energy is energy, whether it comes from antimatter or nuclear fusion." Tom nodded, already understanding her idea. "We don't need to fix it their way. We just need to make it work our way." The aliens watched in horror as the humans began taking apart a section of the engine. To them, it was like watching someone do surgery with a stone axe. But they had no choice but to trust these strange beings who seemed so comfortable with imperfect solutions. "What are you doing?" Commander Rital asked, his voice worried as Maria pulled out a damaged control panel. "We're going to bypass the damaged systems," she explained. "It won't be as efficient as your original design, but it will work. Sometimes you have to step backwards to move forward." The aliens had never considered this approach. Their training told them that systems could only work at peak efficiency or not at all. The idea of a partial repair, a jury-rigged solution, was completely foreign to them. As the human team worked, more aliens gathered to watch. They were fascinated by how the humans used simple tools to solve complex problems. When something didn't fit perfectly, the humans made it fit. When they needed a tool they didn't have, they made one from available materials. "This is not proper engineering," one alien engineer said, watching Maria weld together two seemingly incompatible parts. "No," Tom agreed with a smile. "This is human engineering. And sometimes that's exactly what you need." After 3 days of studying the alien engines, Maria Rodriguez stood before Commander Rital and his engineering team. Behind her, a large screen showed the damaged antimatter containment systems. The news wasn't good. "The containment fields are failing," she explained, pointing to the red areas on the display. "You have maybe 2 weeks before they collapse completely." The alien engineers looked at each other, with what humans had learned was their expression of deep worry. Commander Rietl's skin changed from its normal pale blue to a darker shade. "Then we are doomed," he said simply. "Without containment, the antimatter will destroy our ships. We cannot build new engines in 2 weeks." Tom Adams stepped forward. "Actually," he said, "we have an idea. You're not going to like it, but it might save your people." He pressed a button, and the display changed to show a rough sketch. The aliens leaned forward, their large eyes studying the diagram. One of them made a sound that the translation computer couldn't handle. "This is primitive," the alien chief engineer said finally. "You want to modify our antimatter drives with parts from a human fusion engine." Maria nodded. "Think of it like putting a horse harness on a spaceship," she said. "It's not pretty, but it will work. We can use our containment technology as a backup system for your antimatter drives." The aliens began talking all at once. Their language was too fast for the translators to keep up, but their tone made their opinions clear. They thought the humans were crazy. "Impossible," one alien engineer declared. "You cannot mix technologies like this. The efficiency loss would be—" "Who cares about efficiency?" Tom interrupted. "We're not trying to win a race here. We're trying to save lives." He walked to the display and began explaining their plan. The human team had realized something important. While alien technology was more advanced, it was also more delicate. Human technology was built to handle problems, to work even when things went wrong. "Your ships are like perfect dancers," Tom explained. "Graceful, efficient, beautiful. But one wrong step, and everything falls apart. Our ships are like street fighters. Not pretty, but they can take a punch and keep going." Maria took over the explanation. "We can create a hybrid system. Your antimatter drives will still power the ships, but our containment technology will act as a safety net. It won't be as efficient as your original systems, but it will get you to your destination." The aliens listened as the humans outlined their plan. It went against everything they believed about engineering. Their civilization had spent centuries perfecting their technology, making it more efficient, more elegant. And now these humans wanted to attach what they saw as primitive backup systems to their beautiful engines. "The calculations show it could work," one young alien engineer said quietly. The others turned to look at him. "I've been studying human engineering methods. They're crude, but effective." Commander Rietl stood silently for a long moment. His people's lives were in his hands. The elegant solution they had hoped for wasn't possible. Now he had to choose between his civilization's engineering principles and survival. "How long would it take to modify one ship?" he asked finally. Tom and Maria shared a quick smile. "With your help and resources, we can have a prototype ready in 3 days," Maria answered. "If it works, we can modify the rest of the fleet in time." 3 days. The alien engineers seemed shocked. That's not enough time to run proper simulations, to test all possibilities. "Welcome to human engineering," Tom said with a grin. "Sometimes you have to trust your gut and your tools. We'll test it by trying it." Commander Rietl's skin shifted to a lighter shade, which humans had learned meant acceptance. "Very well," he said. "We will try your human solution. We have no choice." As the meeting ended, Maria turned to Tom. "You know what the funny thing is," she said. "They think we're modifying their technology. But really, we're teaching them something more important." "What's that?" "That sometimes the best solution isn't the perfect one. It's the one that works." The next 3 days on the alien command ship were unlike anything either species had experienced before. The huge engine room had transformed into what Maria called a proper workshop, much to the aliens' confusion. Tools and spare parts lay everywhere. The humans had set up temporary workbenches, and the sound of welding and hammering echoed through the previously silent ship. To the aliens, it looked like chaos. To the humans, it was progress. "Hand me that wrench," Maria called out from inside an access panel she had cut into the engine housing. The aliens winced every time she made a new hole in their perfect ship, but they had stopped protesting. Tom wiped sweat from his forehead as he passed her the tool. Even with the ship's perfect climate control, the work was hard. They were trying to make two completely different technologies work together, like forcing puzzle pieces from different sets to fit. "Look at this," he said to the alien engineer standing nearby. "Your antimatter containment field is failing because it needs perfect conditions. But our fusion containment systems are built to handle problems. They're not as efficient, but they're tough." The alien engineer, who the humans called Blue because of his slightly darker skin tone, had become fascinated by their methods. He watched as they modified and adapted parts that his people would have simply replaced. "I don't understand," Blue said, picking up a piece of hybrid technology the humans had created. "This is against all our engineering principles, but somehow it works." Maria emerged from the access panel, her face streaked with grease. "That's because we build things expecting them to break," she explained. "Your technology only works when everything is perfect. Ours works best when everything goes wrong." The human team worked in shifts, 24 hours a day. They had to finish before the containment fields failed completely. The aliens watched and slowly began to help, learning to think in new ways. One alien engineer discovered she had a talent for what the humans called improvising. She found ways to combine alien and human technology that surprised even Maria. Others began to understand that perfection wasn't always the answer. "Look," Tom said during a short break, pointing to a diagram. "Your original containment field is like a perfect glass sphere. Beautiful, flawless, but break it once, and it's useless. Our containment field is like a metal cage. Not as pretty, but it bends instead of breaking." Commander Rietel visited often, watching the progress. His skin had been shifting between worried dark blue and hopeful light shades. "This goes against everything we know," he said, "but I'm beginning to understand why your species has survived despite your technological limitations." On the third day, with only hours to spare before their deadline, the hybrid engine was ready. It looked strange, with human technology grafted onto the alien engine like patches on expensive clothing. But according to all their tests, it would work. "It's not pretty," Maria admitted, standing back to look at their creation. "But it's the strongest containment field ever built. Your antimatter drive provides the power. Our containment system provides the safety net." The alien engineers ran their final checks. The data showed something remarkable. While the efficiency was lower than their original design, the safety margins were actually higher. The human additions had made the engine more reliable, more able to handle unexpected problems. "Ready for power-up test," Tom announced. The room fell silent. Humans and aliens stood together, watching the monitors. If they were wrong, if their hybrid solution didn't work, the antimatter containment would fail. The ship and everyone on it would be destroyed. Commander Rietel gave the order, "Begin power-up sequence." The engine hummed to life. The sound was different from before, less smooth, more like a human engine. But the readings were clear. It was working. The containment field held strong, a combination of alien perfection and human resilience. Blue's skin turned the brightest shade they'd ever seen. "It works," he said in amazement. "Your impossible solution actually works." Maria smiled, patting the engine housing. "Welcome to human engineering," she said, "where impossible just means nobody's tried it the wrong way yet." The day of the first real test had arrived. The modified command ship floated at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, ready to attempt its first proper flight. Inside the ship, both humans and aliens waited nervously. "All systems are ready," Tom announced from his position at the hybrid control panel. The panel itself showed how far they'd come. Alien holographic displays, mixed with simple human mechanical switches and backup gauges. Commander Rietel stood in the center of the bridge, his skin shifting between pale blue and dark purple. "Begin the test sequence," he ordered. "Take us out to 50,000 kilometers." The huge ship's engines came to life. The sound was different now, not the silent purr of pure alien technology, but a deeper rumble that showed its human influences. Some of the alien crew looked uncomfortable at the noise, but Maria smiled. "That's the sound of reliability," she said to Blue, who had become the main link between the human and alien engineering teams. "If you can hear it working, you can hear when something's wrong." The ship moved forward slowly at first, then with growing speed. Every human and alien on the bridge watched the readings carefully. The hybrid containment field held steady, protecting the antimatter core exactly as they had hoped. 10,000 kilometers, called out one of the alien officers. Engine performance at 85% of original specifications. "That's better than we expected," Tom said, checking his own readings. "The containment field is actually stronger than your original design. Not as efficient, but more stable." The aliens had struggled with this concept at first, the idea that worse could sometimes be better. But after working with the humans, they were beginning to understand. Their perfect technology had failed them when things went wrong. This imperfect solution kept working no matter what. 20,000 kilometers, came the next update. Turning to test maneuverability. The massive ship turned smoothly, its hybrid drive responding well to commands. Some of the alien engineers were making notes, their earlier doubts turning to interest as they saw how the human modifications performed. 30,000 kilometers, all systems nominal. Maria watched the engine readings with pride. The mixture of human and alien technology was working better than anyone had expected. The aliens' antimatter drive provided the power, while human engineering principles kept it safe and stable. 40,000 kilometers. Beginning stress test. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The ship would push its engines hard, testing if the hybrid system could handle real space travel. If it worked, they could start modifying the rest of the fleet. If it failed, Commander Rital gave the order. "Take us to maximum safe speed." The engine's rumble grew louder. The ship accelerated, pushing itself harder than any human vessel had ever gone. But it wasn't just alien technology anymore. Human engineering was part of its heart now. "Containment field holding steady," Tom reported. "The human safety systems are responding exactly as planned." 50,000 kilometers, announced the alien officer. "All systems performing within acceptable parameters." The bridge erupted in cheers, human and alien voices mixing together. They had done it. The impossible hybrid of advanced alien technology and practical human engineering had worked. Blue's skin had turned the brightest shade of blue they'd ever seen. "I believe I understand now," he said to Maria. "Your species' greatest strength isn't in your technology. It's in your ability to make things work, no matter what." Commander Rital turned to face the human team. "We doubted you," he admitted. "We thought your primitive technology couldn't help us. We were wrong. You've taught us that sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one." Tom smiled as he looked at the hybrid control panel. "That's the thing about humans," he said. "We're too stubborn to accept impossible problems. We just keep trying until we find a way that works. Even if that way breaks all the rules of proper engineering." Blue asked, humor in his voice. "Especially if it breaks all the rules," Maria laughed. "That's when we do our best work." 3 months after the first successful test, the last ship in the alien fleet received its hybrid engine upgrade. The massive repair operation had transformed both species in unexpected ways. Tom Adams stood at the observation window of the Spirit of Earth, watching as the alien fleet prepared for departure. Each of the 300 ships now carried a piece of human engineering at its heart. They weren't as elegant as before, but they were stronger, more reliable. "Hard to believe it's really over," Maria said, joining him at the window. She looked tired but proud. The past months had been exhausting, but they had achieved something remarkable. Commander Rital's ship transmitted a message to the human vessel. His image appeared on their main screen, his skin glowing with a bright blue of happiness and success. "Thanks to human ingenuity," he announced, "our people will survive." But we have gained more than just repaired ships. We have learned valuable lessons about technology and progress. The alien commander wasn't exaggerating. During the months of work, the aliens had started to change their approach to engineering. Blue and his team had begun creating their own hybrid designs, mixing alien precision with human practicality. We would like to establish a permanent embassy on Earth, Rital continued, not just for diplomatic relations, but to continue learning from each other. Your species has shown us that there are different paths to advancement. The Earth Council quickly agreed. Within weeks, plans were made for an alien embassy in Geneva. But more importantly, plans were made for a joint engineering academy where both species could share their knowledge. It's funny, Tom said during the farewell ceremony. You came to our solar system because your technology failed. Now you're staying because our primitive solutions worked. Blue, who had been chosen as the first alien ambassador to Earth, smiled in his species way. We thought we were advanced because everything we built was perfect, he said. You showed us that true advancement means being able to handle imperfection. As the alien fleet prepared for their final departure to their new home system, something unexpected happened. A new signal arrived at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station. Another alien species, different from Rital's people, was requesting help. Their quantum drive engines have failed, Tom explained to the Earth Council. They say they heard about how humans fixed the impossible engine problems of the refugee fleet. Maria laughed when she heard this. We're becoming the galaxy's mechanics, she said. The species everyone calls when their fancy technology breaks down. The Council didn't hesitate this time. Earth immediately offered to help the new aliens. They had learned that humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy might not be advancing technology, but rather keeping it working. On his last day aboard the alien command ship, Tom found a gift in his quarters. It was a piece of the original alien engine, mounted on a base with an inscription in both alien and human writing. To the species that taught us perfection isn't everything. Commander Rital's final message to Earth was broadcast worldwide. We came to you as refugees with broken ships, thinking you were primitive and backward. We leave as friends, understanding that progress isn't just about building better machines. It's about building better solutions. Humanity may not have the most advanced technology in the galaxy, but you have something far more valuable: the ability to make the impossible possible. As the alien fleet finally departed, leaving their embassy and engineering teams behind, Maria stood in the monitoring station where it had all begun. A new group of human engineers was already preparing to help the latest aliens who had asked for Earth's assistance. You know what this means? She asked Tom, pointing to the screen showing the new distress call. We're not just part of the galactic community now. We're its problem solvers. Tom smiled, remembering how it all started with a simple distress signal. That's what humans do best, he said. We fix things, we help people, and we never accept that something's impossible until we've tried every possible wrong way to do it right. In the years that followed, Earth became known throughout the galaxy, not for having the most advanced technology, but for having the most innovative problem solvers. Alien ships regularly visited Earth's space stations for repairs and upgrades, often leaving with hybrid systems that weren't quite perfect, but worked better than ever before.